Hey, what's going on with y'all, man? Top of the morning on this Thursday mornings, about 5:45 or whatever, man. And I've been meaning to talk about this subject for about a week, ever since California federal court struck down the gun ban on guns. And what I want to talk about is the responsibilities of guns. You know, when I was younger, I used to carry a gun daily. And my father had told me that that wasn't cool because I was a hothead, and that if I was going to have a gun, that I should leave that gun at home. So therefore, if I got into anything, that on my way back to get the gun, I could process what I was going to do. And you know, that's two-sided, because hell, you know how it is, man. It's better to have one than to get caught without one. But at the same time, if you can some way get your way up out of the situation that's happening and get a chance to think about what you're gonna do, then it might extend your life or your freedom on these streets. Because a lot of times when you don't have emotional control, you react to things very fast. And when you have a gun on you, it becomes the end all to everything. That's the problem solved for any problems, and that's an irrational and irresponsible way to possess a gun or use a gun. So I kind of took heed to that and understood what he meant by having time to think about what you was going to do and figure out if it was really that serious. And so I say this to say this, that as I matured, got older, got a little wiser, I learned that there are certain situations that require gun use and certain situations that don't require gun use. And the only way that you can develop the discernment of that is to acquire wisdom and have a keen sense of reading other people's characters. And so I say that to say this: just because you have a gun doesn't mean that you got to use a gun. Actuality, a gun should be for your protection or people around you in a life-threatening situation. See, now that I'm older and I understand these things, I could carry a gun if I so chose to, if I own one. But we have to be able to know that a gun isn't supposed to be used always. There's certain situations, and I'll use these as example. You having an argument with somebody doesn't mean the argument should end in gun violence. You're out in the streets and you have a little road rage doesn't mean the gun should the road rage should end in gun violence. You have to be able to discern when to use a gun. If your life is not physically threatened, then, and I say life, then you don't need to use a gun. Dig what I'm saying? And you have to be able to determine that. And so just because you might even get into a physical fight doesn't mean you need a gun. You have to be able to judge the person's character. And of course, yeah, you can't always do that because you don't know everybody. But you really, really have to use discernment when you possess a gun. I've been in many situations where, guess what? Because I came up squabbling, these were my first defense. These were, dig what I'm saying? And so I was real quick to slang them. And in actuality, I'm still real quick to slang them. Dig what I'm saying? I could hypothetically have a gun on me and still wouldn't use it because I'm in a fist fight. There's no need. It's not that serious. And you have to understand these things when you possess a gun. And it's crazy that we just had this shooting in Minneapolis, because not only should the average everyday citizen be able to use discernment, these sorry ass cops need it more than anybody, because they are carrying a gun daily and they are put in situations where sometimes they need it, most times they don't. Just like yesterday, you had a woman who was basically in the midst of protesting your actions that she felt was illegal. And her protest simply came by blocking the road. She didn't come to kill somebody. She didn't come to run somebody over. That wasn't in her character, because if it was, that's where it would have started. And that sorry ass cop decided to kill her because he could, because he had the ego that chose killing over de-escalation. And a lot of these cops do. Not all of them, but a whole lot of them, as we see, would choose to kill somebody before just de-escalating a situation. And God damn it, it appears to be, and it always has been for a long time, that these cops need a lot of psychological evaluations, and not just when they fill out the application. They need to have periodic psychological evaluations to see what their mind state is throughout their career, because things do change. Dig what I'm saying? And if they had this and possessed this, I think community relations would be a whole lot better. These hot-headed, quick-to-kill cops need to be up out of there. They need to revamp the entire law enforcement vetting process, because you guys are doing a terrible job. Every day you see one of these hot-headed cops who can't take a little pressure, take it out on the community, take it out on their kids, take it out on their spouses, like little kids having tantrums. They need to be up out of there. Gun control, gun possession needs to be handled by someone who can discern and de-escalate situations for what they are. It's the history. I'm up out of here. Man, y'all have a good day today. Be careful out there on that road out here in Southern California, because it's very windy. One.